All right, Joel Gausten here from joelgausten.com. For this next conversation, we're going to talk a lot about music, but we're going to talk a whole lot about art. My guest is someone who's quite well known and experienced in the New York hardcore scene, but also is a very accomplished artist whose work really blows me away. So we're going to dive pretty deep into that as well. But without further ado, it's my pleasure to welcome from Agnostic Front, Mr. Mike Gallo. Mike, how's it going, buddy?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, man. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. I know AEF's been pretty damn busy lately. You've been touring a lot, as the band always does. And just a couple weeks ago, you guys played with the Misfits out in Texas, right?
Yeah, it was great. It was awesome. It was us, Reverend Horton, Heat, Suicidal Tendencies, and the Misfits. It was great.
Wow. Yeah, that's a bill to end all bills, man. I mean, that doesn't come around every weekend, you know?
Certainly not. It was really great because me and my wife we brought my daughter, and she had the time of her life, and I really can't actually believe it. But she running through the house singing Misfits songs now, so it's like
Oh,
I can't actually believe it. I never thought she would. I mean, she likes horror and stuff, like some like soft horror stuff. But she's just turning 9, and I just didn't think that she would like any of the music. I know she likes a couple of Agnostic Front songs, but you know, I just didn't don't see her going in that direction. But in the past few months, she's really been getting more into music, and she's gonna do a School of Rock.
oh, cool.
Like she's gonna go to the School of Rock for a week to see how to learn how she wants to sing. So we're gonna see how that goes, and if she likes it, then we're gonna put her in full time for that. So, but she's actually running around singing. I ain't goddamn son of a bitch, and she's like, "Daddy, am I allowed to say that?" I'm like, "Yeah, you can say it. That's cool. It's fine. Just don't say it out in public. It's all good."
Yeah.
But
That
she's just mad, and I want your skulls, and I was like, it's pretty funny to see. I can't actually believe it.
That's so cool, man. I was around 9 years old when I got into punk and hardcore, so and the Misfits were an entry point for me, certainly. So that's
Yeah,
really cool that your daughter's, getting a positive experience out of the whole thing, that's
yeah.
excellent.
I didn't push it on her, like at all. Just be like, come to the show, and she just, we played them like once for her, and then it really stuck to her. It was really funny.
Excellent, man. And staying with Agnostic Front for a minute, you've been in the band a long time. Actually, aside from obviously Roger and Vinny, you're the longest running band member AF has had. I think it's been what, about 20, 24, 25 years now, something like that.
Yeah. Next year will be 24 years.
Excellent.
I joined 2001.
So,
It's pretty
yeah, I saw you guys in 2002 at CBGB's for the 20th anniversary show.
Oh yeah, that
And
was great.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the first time I saw you in Agnostic Front. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you've been there for a while, man. You've stuck in there for quite a bit, which is fantastic. Um, I know your brother Steve played drums in the band as well for a time. So it's been a, pretty major part of your life for a long time. How did you first get involved in being a
Yep.
member of the band?
We I had another hardcore band at the time called On the Rise, and we actually wound up remastering something that we recorded somewhere that just didn't sound great. So we had a friend of mine was like, "Hey, take it to this guy over in Jersey, and he'll do the best he can to get it to sound a little bit better." So he remastered it, did what he could to do it. And his name was Tim Gillis, God rest his soul. He had a studio in Jersey City. Jersey City. It's called Big Blue Meanie. Actually, I think it was Hoboken, somewhere like around there. And he was great. He was awesome. He was just like, oh, he goes, yeah, we record Agnostic Front here, and I think it was like Thursday, and a whole bunch of bands, El Nino, and all these bands. And he was like, "Yo, we're having a Christmas party or some sort of party like that." And they were like, "Why don't you come down? All the guys are going to be here. You meet all the AF guys." And we're like, "All right, cool," you know. So we met them and we just kind of became friendly with them. We brought the drummer at the time, who was Jimmy Coletti. We wound up bringing him home. But we just stayed in touch and we just kind of hit it off. And I remember, like, not even like a year or so later, Rob Kabula, the old bass player, he had said that he was just like, he's like, "Look, he's like, I'm probably not going to do this much longer." He's like, "Would you want to, like, step in?" And I was like, wow, I can't even actually believe that. But yeah, are you kidding me? And then I just started. He's like, "Yeah," he's like, "Start learning the songs." So I was like, "All right," and I did. And eventually, they asked me to come down for like a kind of like a tryout. It was like me and another guy. I always leave his name out because I don't want to, whatever. But yeah, and then we did a tryout. I personally, I wasn't ready for it, to be honest with you. It really wasn't. And the other guy was so much better. So Coletti grabs me and he's like, "Come on, let's go get some drinks." And I was like, "All right, here comes the letdown." And then he goes, "You're in." I was like, "I'm in." And I was like, "Really?" And I really kind of felt like the other guy was better. He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "To be honest with you, you're horrible." He goes, "It's bass, it's punk rock, you'll figure it out." And then and then the first tour they were like, Roger was like, "We gotta get rid of this kid. He's a nice kid, but like, I really wasn't cutting it, to be honest with you. I really wasn't. So far from being a professional musician. So it really took me time to kind of get it going on. And it took me about a month or so, but they all helped me. Roger played bass, so he helped me out a lot. And the first thing was like, "You gotta stop jumping around because, like, you can't even play the songs yet." It's like, first you gotta learn how to play. It's like, before you can start jumping around. And then I picked up pretty quick from there. They had a lot of help. I remember that first tour I was on, it was like, first tour was actually Rise Against, Casualties, TSOL, and the Agnostic Front. I believe that was my first tour. And all the guys from TSOL, they were great, awesome guys. I remember, like, Ron and a couple of guys, like, they helped me. They're like, "We'll get you through this, kid. Don't worry about it." So they took a liking to me, and then everybody helped me. And by the end of the tour, I was rocking. So it took me a good couple of weeks to really, like, get it in there and really just, like, first of all, let me tell you another story. Once I learned the songs, I feel like Stigma taught me them wrong, and then we went on tour, and he remembered the right way and didn't tell me. There's a lot of that going on too. So that wasn't easy getting through, but it all came together. And here I am, like, 23, almost 24 years later. It's wild.
Yeah, man, fantastic. And I've seen AF dozens of times going back to 91 or no, 92 was my first AF show. Um,
Okay.
and no matter who's in the band, it's always been a great show. I know Roger and Vinny take it serious. There's a lot of wildness at an AF show, but I know you guys, you're the real thing. You put a lot of time and effort into this, and every lineup I've seen has been fantastic. But I really, really like this current lineup you guys have. I think I've been watching some recent videos, and I think you guys are really hitting it hard right now.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's a good. I think we got a good. I mean, we've been doing it for so long. Vinny and Roger really kind of know what the hell they know how to put on a great show. You know what I mean? Like, you got Vinny, who's like the crazy kook. Who's almost kind of like a mascot. It's something. He's a nut. And then you got the serious Roger guy, but he knows how to work the crowd. And you know, and then the band is pretty damn tight right now. You know what I mean? It's just like, uh, between Danny and Craig. And I mean, I've been playing with them for almost 23 years now. I could do it in my sleep now. So it's, you know what I mean? Like, at this point, I think we really kind of figured it out. And yeah, I think the lineup is great right now. It's really, really good. We try to, and we have so many. It's kind of hard to figure out what to play everywhere. It's like in Europe, they like more of the new stuff. in the States they like some of the old stuff, but we try to mix it up a little bit, and just try to get the people what they want.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And most importantly, it's good to see Rogers in better health these days and is out there doing it. We always wish Roger the best. And, one of the nicest people I've ever met, not just in hardcore, but just period. He's always very cool, great front man. His book is fantastic. And it's just great
Yeah,
to see he's doing okay. That's fantastic to
yeah,
know.
big scare. I mean, Vinny went through it too at one point,
Really?
very early. Yeah, when I he had I think he had colorectal cancer. Yeah, he beat it. He beat it. So both of those guys have actually beat it. I mean, Roger's been through a lot, heart attacks, like all sorts of crazy shit. He's had some hell of a life. He really has. It's insane what he's been through.
Yeah. Well, he has said a lot over the years that, hardcore is life, this is a life thing. And God damn it, he means it, right? I mean, they're still doing it.
Yeah, he's like that's the only thing that keeps me alive.
Yeah.
So it keeps him young and just like they do it because they love me. You know what I mean? Let's be honest with you. I mean, that's why I kind of got into doing the art. Like, there's not a lot of money in it. You know what I mean? Like we go and make a couple of bucks here and there, but like it's we can't live off of it. It's rough.
Mm. Well, let's get into the art because that's how you and I met. The great Bridge 9 Records out in Beverly,
Yeah.
Mass, which always hosts tons of cool get-togethers and events. Back in May, had an art show. Dawn, she exhibited some work. Christopher Michon was there, and you had a bunch of stuff. And I was really blown away by the stuff you were displaying there. So I thought it'd be awesome to kind of touch base and talk about your history in art because it's kind of a different facet than, just talking about music and that whole thing. So right off the top, you are the man behind Gallo Originals. Uh,
Yep.
it's all kinds of very unique artwork and uh, we're going to definitely have some show and tell during the conversation too, and you can kind of walk me through some of the things that you've created. Um, but before we get into all of that, when did art really kind of take hold of you? In addition to the music thing, when did art kind of become a major part of your life?
I mean, actually, very early in my life, even before I started playing music, way before I started playing music, I was into art way before music. I mean, I've always been into music, but I actually didn't start playing bass. I started playing bass when I was like, I don't know, 14, 15, but I gave it up right away. And actually, graffiti was a big thing, a big part of my life as a kid. Um, you know, just growing up in that time, it was just it was a big era for graffiti. It was just like the late '80s, early '90s. Even if they weren't doing graffiti, it was just like that popular at that time. And like so I got really big into the graffiti thing, and I mean we were out stealing paint, bombing the parkways. But back then it was just like we did it because it was like such a rush. But the only thing I really regret about it is like I never stuck to like one consistent tag that I would go bombing with. It was like every weekend I would change it. I don't like this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna write this and whatever. It was just more of like a rush thing for us, like going and see how much paint we could steal and going into different stores to find like different caps that shot out fatter, fat caps. Like, it was a rush. And we would get on our BMX bikes and just go painting and, you know, bombing the parkways. The parkways were big at the time, especially where I was, because I was living not too far from Queens. I grew up in Long Island on the border of Queens and Long Island in Elmont. And the parkways are right there. You had the Bell Parkway, Cross Island Park was right there, so we would just ride our bikes down there and just go bomb all the bridges. And then as I got a little older, I kind of, I kind of got, I got out of the graffiti thing for a little bit, and then I really found music. But I would always like graffiti was always in me, so I'd always like throw up tags here and there and just keep it that with that. But then as I got a little older, I got into music and punk and hardcore, and then I guess I kind of put the art thing like kind of behind me a little bit. I was so embraced into the New York hardcore and music scene and learning how to play and starting a band. Like that was everything for me at one point, like after high school. And I didn't get back into doing art again until I got until I had a baby. So I wanted to move into Jersey and getting married and raising my daughter. At the time, I was a barber and I wasn't able to cut hair here because I didn't have a license, and they wanted me to go back to school for 4 months, and it was like $4,000, and I was just like, this is crazy. So my wife at the time was like, why don't you just, when you're not on tour, stay home with the baby? That's what we need right now. She's working, she's a teacher, so I wound up doing that, and I kind of started making art again, and just to kind of like, just because my life is so different. My life changed so much at that point that I needed something else to challenge my energy into, like, so I kind of got back into doing art, and I started doing art on records, and I gave one to a friend of mine at a birthday party, and people were like, oh, I love that, it's really cool, and they're like, hey, do you charge for those? Do you make them? And I was like, yeah, whatever. And next thing you know, I was like, online. I was like, I was like, all right, whatever. I could make a couple of bucks. It's like $30 a record. I was like, whatever. And it just turned into like a monster. It turned into like me building a whole business, and it's probably my base income now, and like it's unbelievable how I just turned into it. I mean, like during COVID, I mean, I was definitely pretty deep into it before COVID. During COVID, my wife's son moved back into the house here, and I built the art studio off the shed because I needed another spot, and I was really able to take it to the next level with that because I just had so much time on my hands, and that's when I really got bigger into the epoxy game and was really starting to experiment. And yeah, here I am now. Just like I can't even believe that it's like this is what I'm doing now for a living. I mean, it's a hustle, it's a struggle. What I mean? I have my good months, my bad months, just like everything else. But I'm starting to find more things that I do that people seem to like them. Like the pizzas and the skateboards and the lyric canvases and this. I'm starting to find my niche and starting to sell things a little bit more often, than like steadily. That's kind of greasing my pockets a little bit, which is nice. So I just invested in a CNC router machine, which is pretty awesome. I can't wait to get into that, and then that should bring things to another level. So
Excellent, man.
yes, that's it.
Well, it's cool. It's working out so well for you, and I'll tell anybody who's watching this and my subscribers who are checking this out who may not know about Mike's history and his art. I'm going to put a link to Gallo Originals in the video description. Go to that website and check out this stuff, man. It is really cool. If you love music, if you love graffiti culture, if you love New York hardcore, those are some of the things that serve as topics for Mike's art, man. So I would definitely recommend people checking this out. But you mentioned a couple of things here I want to dive into. You mentioned the records, and that's what
Yeah.
really kind of grabbed me when I saw your stuff over at Bridge 9. Do you have an example or two nearby you can flash up so people can see what we're talking about?
So I had one. Like this is what I would know. Sometimes I'll do this. Like I didn't have them done like this because I normally I'll do the records. I do them just like this
Yeah,
without putting it on the canvas with the epoxy, which is a pretty cool touch too, you know? And this is like without it. And I got a whole bunch of different ones like this.
Cool.
And then I experiment with a bunch of different colors. So each one I do always has a little something different to it. Even if it's the same color scheme, there's always a little something different with it, you know?
And so the viewer knows these are
Whether
actual vinyl records that you're working on one side of those
yeah,
records.
yes. I get people I just, put it online, hey, I'm looking to paint on some records. Anybody have some old records they want to send me?
That's
And
cool.
normally what I would do is I stencil them. So I have my stencil. I'll do like a brick wall in the background, and then I'll stencil it. And then what I'll do is I'll outline them, and then they become something like this.
Yeah,
From this to this.
yeah,
You
beautiful.
know, so they're a lot of fun to do. I bring them with me on the road, and they're just easy to travel with. But I also been doing. I love putting them on a canvas and epoxy them because it really brings it to another level.
Yeah, absolutely. That looks fantastic. Do you know at this point roughly how many of those records you've produced for customers?
God, you know what? The thing is, when I first started doing art again, selling, I was just doing the records, and I was selling a lot of them. I was like, oh, this is crazy. You know what I mean? I was just like kind of getting tired of it. Um, and then that's what forced me to start doing other things. And then a couple of years ago, I just realized I was like, records, I could just put them in my backpack, and you know what I mean, and sell a couple on the road. Put out like one at night, and now I can't even tell you how many I've sold. I mean, probably close to 1,000 of them. It's they do. At first, I was like, I'm tired of doing these, but you know what? People love them. So give the people what they want. It makes sense. I play music, put it on a vinyl record. It just makes sense.
Right.
It really does.
And I mean the possibilities are endless for music fans too, because if they're into something, they're into a particular band, or they're in a band, it's a unique gift for somebody who's a musician, like, hey man, here's a 12-inch, custom made Mike Gallo record with your band's logo on it or something cool like that. So,
Yeah,
it opens up a lot of doors for different
it
ideas.
does. Yeah, I mean, I do customs like that all the time. Kids' birthdays, their name, different band name. Just all. I mean, I did a car one day. I do all sorts of different stuff. Like whatever. Pretty much, I'm pretty versatile. I can do a bunch of stuff. Like I kind of get bored. That's why at first I was bored with the records. I moved on to this. Like I do a bunch of different stuff. Like skateboards, just different canvases. Pieces, all sorts of stuff. I even started. Um, I look into a bunch of different stuff now. Like I'm even making a TV box for a friend of mine to make like a new TV look like an old school TV. Yeah, I
Mm,
could show you where I'm working.
yeah, that'd be
Some
cool.
fun stuff. Yeah, I could definitely show you and take. Would you like me to show you now?
Sure.
Yeah. So this I have. So this,
Oh, wow.
but I still have to put the inside piece in here and make it the TV actually look oval, like oval shape in the center. But this is kind of, I don't know if you can kind of see what's going on here.
Yeah, yeah.
Make it kind of look like an old TV.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, that's cool.
pretty fun thing. And then working on that, I'm working on
There you go.
CDs. I'm gonna do that. This is actually the machine that I just got. The router machine. You hook it up to the computer, and then you program it to cut and engrave anything I want, which is pretty awesome. Can't wait to get into that thing. Here is a piece I did for my friends at Pitchfork. You can see the lettering, the 3D lettering. Here's a piece I did for Jesse Malin.
Oh, nice.
I don't know. I was thinking about auctioning it off, or I'm not really sure what I want to do with it. But I think we're supposed to release a song or something like that in the near future, a Heart Attack song we did. So when that comes out, I may kind of put it out with this and then see if we get a better response.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then I have here's a skateboard I just did.
Oh, wow. Wow, wow. That looks great, man.
Fun one.
That's so cool. Man, there's a lot of detail in that.
Yeah, put a lot of time, a lot of work into it. Put the gold studs around it,
Uh-huh.
gold stars, and they epoxied over the whole thing.
Wow, that looks great, man. That really looks great.
Thank you. And then what else do I got here to show you? Oh, I got these. These are pretty cool. So this here. I sell a lot of these. People love these handwritten lyrics. I actually have another one. This one I haven't epoxied yet. This one here is epoxied. See the difference?
Yeah.
The shine.
Yeah, that really makes a difference, man.
Yeah, it really brings it to another level,
Yeah, that's so cool.
They got that, and then what was the other one? The pizza.
Yes. You gotta get into the pizza. And he made lightsabers too. I saw those.
I have that inside somewhere. I have to look. Maybe I have it here. I have to look. Here are the pizzas.
That's so cool.
And these are a lot of fun. I mean, this is one of my best sellers now.
Yeah.
The pizzas really seem to I mean, everybody loves pizza. So it's kind of it's a no-brainer with me.
Yeah, and I went through the Gallo Originals website, and you've got a ton of cool things there, man. I even saw like there's a rug, like a
Yeah.
CBG rug. You've got Frankenstein t-shirts, which are awesome, by the way. I'm going to be placing an order pretty soon.
Thank
Uh,
you.
a lot of cool New York hardcore themed stuff. So if you're watching this, guys, go to Mike's site and check out all the stuff he's got there. I mean, this is just a small sampling of what Mike can do. Um, and the one piece I really love, and I'm sure it's on your website, is that great collage you did with Roger and Vinny with like flyers and stuff in the background.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a good one. You know, I mean, Vinny and Roger are so iconic, when it comes to this music and the culture, and it was kind of just something I always had in my head that I wanted to create, and I just made up a stencil of the two of them, and I just put the flyers behind it, and it just really comes together nice, it really You know, you wouldn't believe how many times I had to do it, redo it to get it to look the way I wanted it to. It took me a lot, you know. I tried a couple of different ways, just didn't look right. You know, a lot of it's trial and error. But I think I kind of finally nailed the head on it, you know, and really just you know, brought it together. I mean, I love that piece. It's a great one.
Yeah, it really is. And I think I even told you when I was at your show back in May and I saw that. It's like any band would love something like that to commemorate their history, an image with
Absolutely.
background showing their history. So I'm letting people know if you're in a band or you have a family member or a loved one who's in a band, check out what Mike offers because, it would be a tremendous gift to give to somebody, something that chronicles and represents their history in that way. That piece in particular is just beautiful, man. And, I'm
Thank
thinking to myself, who can I get you to make something for similar to
you.
that? Because it's such that particular piece and that style just says so much about the subject, and it's a unique piece and it's also coming from a
Yeah,
musician, so when people
yeah,
order Gallo Originals, they're buying art from a fellow musician. That's huge, you know.
absolutely. Yeah, you know, it's just it's so funny how like everything like I think it all shows kind of in my art like what I've been through in life, you know, just from like graffiti and going to CBGBs and then just the whole New York street culture and just, you know, hardcore and hip hop and graffiti and just punk rock and just, you know, and then pop culture and just, I don't know, I just kind of just somehow submerge them all together and I somehow come up with this crazy style, you know. Like I also love like I also really you know what I really like a lot also is I love like the guys that do all the pinstriping on the cars and like all of that type of work too. You know, I kind of try to like throw a little bit of that in there too, you know, like I really enjoy it. I love it. I love that style, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that the custom art on cars. Um, I used to as a journalist, I used to cover the automotive industry. So
Uh
I would go to car shows and see like the real high-end guys and what
yeah, yeah,
they're doing. I mean, your jaw just hits the ground when you see what some of these pinstripers can do and what some of these artists can do, using a car as a canvas. And that's really what you're doing. You're
yeah,
using
yeah.
and just the attention to detail. I'm not a real precise as I can't do what you do. That's why I write and do this because anything that's like that, I'm
Yeah.
gonna fuck it all up. So I have total respect for anybody who can nail that. And that skateboard you just showed, man, it's got insane detail on it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big fan of what you're doing, man. I think it's
I,
you know,
I
definitely.
really do. I really do pour my heart and soul into it. You know what I mean? Like it's you know I put so much almost too much into it. You know, sometimes you know it's just like I don't know. I'll sit with a piece sometimes and just be like I don't know what does it need? What does it need? You know, and sometimes I'll have it sit there for like months and just be like I don't know what else to do with it. No one day, like, oh that's it. You know, and then boom, it all comes together. It's wild. It's funny how it happens like that. You know. I feel like I'm almost sometimes like a mad scientist in the lab here.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. That pizza you showed with the No Effects logo, was that done for the band or um just
This what I work with these people. Um, they have kind of like a company or whatever it's called, punk rock and paintbrushes, and they have a bunch of artists that are either like guys in bands, skateboarders, you know, punk rock, hardcore, skateboarding, you know, all those, you know, all those type of dudes, like guys like Steve Caballero, you know, Kristen Hosohe, like all those big time skater dudes. And those guys are also amazing artists as well. You know, and then they got a bunch of, you know, other artists. And what they do is they take all these artists and they do shows all over the world. And they were asked to do the No Effects tour.
Mhm.
They got put on the No Effects tour, so everybody, all the artists that are on that roster was asked to do like No Effects themed pieces. So I did a boombox, I did a bass drum cover, you know, the front of the bass drum head, and then the pizzas, and the pizzas just really like people seem to just love this thing. You know, people loved it. You know, I can't tell you how many of these I sold. I still gotta make more. They just told me, yeah, we sold a few more. I gotta make a few more. I was like, all right, I'll make a few more. So, basically making pizza for a living, just not the kind you eat.
So cool, man. That's so cool. I really like how the colors just sort of fly off the art. You know what I mean? Everything is so
Yeah,
bright. It just hits you a certain way, you know. Um, there's just and it's also, with the graffiti sort of angle, there's also just a spirit of fun to it, you know.
yeah, totally. You know, I think it's a good like mashup of all of that. Like, you know, it's like it's funny. There's somebody was telling me, I forget exactly who it was, like it's really cool to see like you, like a guy like you, like into like the hardcore and punk scene. It's like a tough type of scene or whatever. And then you have no problem like doing colors like pink and blue, but you somehow still make it look tough in a way, even though you're using like those like bright pink and like whatever, but like even though it still comes off like, with a punk tough edge to it, and it's like, I mean, I guess like I don't know, I just when I see something, when I make something, I want to make it where I can't stop looking at it. You know what I mean? I'm not into like I'm not a fine artist. I'm not one of those artists like that. I don't have that in me. Everybody there's all different type of artists. And a fine artist I am not. You know what I mean? But I got my thing, and I just sometimes I make it look a little sloppier on purpose just to give it like that. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't like it's pizza. You know what I mean? Like what perfect pizza are you gonna see? You know what I mean? Like you can just do your own thing with it and just have fun with it. I try to do all different designs and I just have fun with it, just like, and I think that's like the best part of it. I think it shows with my work. I enjoy what I do. I love it.
Yeah, that does come through, and that's what I was gonna say. It's like with music, you can tell when somebody's just getting through the gig and phoning it in. You know what I mean?
Oh
I
yeah.
I don't see that at all with your art. I can tell there's passion behind it, Otherwise, why do it? I mean, like, why do
Yeah.
music? Why do art if you're not gonna just throw yourself into it?
That's why like so many people have like asked me like how did you like wind up like what's like your secret to like whatever success that you had, and the honest thing I told them, like you can't just kind of do something, like you're either gonna have to do it like a million fucking percent and put every ounce of your energy and like heart and soul into it, and unless you're gonna do it, don't even fucking bother. You know what I mean? Like, you can't like, no matter what you do, whether it's martial arts or playing music or making art or, I mean, playing tennis, playing anything. You know what I mean? You can't half-ass anything. If you half-ass anything, that's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get a half-ass. You know, you're gonna get a half-ass in return. If you want to really be serious about something, I really am a strong believer that like if you really put your mind to anything, you really want to do something that bad, you can make it happen. Believe me, I know it's true. Believe me, I'm not the sharpest crayon in the box. I can tell you that. That's for sure. But one thing I can tell you is if you want to achieve something, if you want it bad enough, you have to just give it your all. And if you want it bad enough, you could do it. You know what I mean? I mean, you need to be somewhat like realistic about shit. You know what I mean? Like, but you know what I'm saying? Like if you really want to achieve something, if you give it your all, you can do it. You can do anything you want. And that's what I try to tell my daughter all the time. She's always like, yeah, yeah, yeah. She don't listen to me. But I just keep, drilling it into her head, just like no matter what you want to do, you can do anything you want. You just have to put, oh yeah, yeah, gotta give it your all. It's all or nothing.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Right on. To
Yeah.
kind of tie it back to where we started, with AF, I had Kabula on a couple months back.
Oh, cool.
And I asked him this question because it's a big question.
Yeah,
We've been talking, trying to work out time to connect for a while because you guys have been touring. And, that's not going to stop anytime soon for AF. I know you're on like a little break right now, but then, the band's going to keep rolling. Stigma's got his book coming out, which I
yeah.
cannot wait to read. I'm there for that.
It's,
Um,
uh,
and Roger's doing well, and the band's firing on all cylinders. 40 plus years later. Um, there are bands who play half the speed you guys play at, and play half as hard as you guys do, who don't last half as long as
yeah,
AF has. Um,
yeah.
you've been in the band a long time. So what can you tell me? What is it about AF that keeps it going? What keeps Agnostic Front in the game, playing the way you have played for as long as you have? What's been the trick to keeping this thing rolling?
I mean, to be 100%, it's obviously Vinny and Roger, and you know what it is like. Those guys fucking love it. You know what I mean? Like they love it. They really honestly do. I mean, Vinny is like the guy is like inhuman. You know, he's insane. You know, but those guys, no matter what, every motherfucking night on stage, they give 110%. You know what I mean? They love it. They do it. They're for real. They really are. You know what I mean? There's no bullshit with the band. You know, they really are a real band who love what they're doing, and that's resonating with so many people. You know what I mean? It's so crazy how many people I see come up to Stigma and Roger and just be like, "Oh, you really have no idea how much you've helped me get through some of the hard times of my life." You know, I've seen people drop to their knees crying in front of them. You know what I mean? It's like really, they've really reached a lot of people. You know what I mean? And they're very sincere about what they do. They really are. You know, and it's just like, I even had somebody come up to me and say, oh, this song, blah blah blah. Like it really helped. It really helped me get through another day. Like you have no idea. You know, and it hits you. It's just like, wow. It's really like, actually made a difference in somebody's life. You know what I mean? It's pretty amazing feeling. I think that's what keeps us from doing it. We just love it, and it's just like, I think a lot of people, like so many of these bands, like they break up, they come back, they this, last tour, blah blah blah, all this bullshit. You know what I mean? It's fucking annoying at this point, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? I just like, all right, enough with the fucking last tour bullshit. You know what I mean? It's just fucking play until you drop dead. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, because that's what we're gonna do, and that's it. It's just like, they might have had when Roger went away to jail, but that was, you know what I mean? Like, what else were you gonna do? The guy was incarcerated, and then they came back, But it's just like that was like the only break they really kind of had, But it's just like, um, they just really love doing what they do, and it really just shows. You know what I mean? Like I said, like those guys. We play. Let me say, we play every night. We do not have any days off. In the States, we sometimes have a day off, and if we have a day off, we're driving. Because it's just like we can't afford to. We play like on the last tour we just did in the States. I think it was like 27 dates, 27 shows. Yeah, no days off. And we flew to Greece. It's like, a lot of these bands, they'll go away, do 27 shows, 27 days, 30 days, but they only play like 18 shows.
Right.
It's just like, days off cost you money. It just sucks, You might as well get there, fucking play, and just, we like the routine of just doing it every night. It's like a fucking well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think, for the love of it, just, like I said, I would love to do this art stuff and just like take it easy, like but like you have no idea how much I'm hustling and making PC and making a piece there. Like I gotta hustle. Like I wish the band paid my bills, but it's just not enough money. You know what I mean? So, and it's like just been so many times where I'm just like, man, I just need to just get a real job. I'm tired of struggling, But it's just like, what? I'd rather struggle every day and get to do what I love. So, you know,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would, I wouldn't, especially at this point in my life, I wouldn't be able to like just go and just get like a 9 to 5, unless it was just like a bullshit job just to make a couple extra bucks. It'd be hard. It'd be really hard for me to just be like, I'm not doing this no more. I wouldn't be able to. There's no way.
Yeah. Well, I think it's Robert Fripp from King Crimson, the band King Crimson, has a quote. He says, "The creative life and the comfortable life are mutually exclusive." You know, but here's the thing, doing creative work, you get paid in other ways. Not
You
necessarily
do.
money, but you get paid in other ways. You get that
Like,
contentment, you're fulfilling something within yourself that, yeah, an $80,000 a year office job would be wonderful, but you're not going to get fulfilled doing that. Your bank account will
no
be,
way.
but so what kind of life do you want to live? Somewhere in the middle is ideal, but the bottom line is you can't let go of that thing that drives you. And the thing that drives you may not pay you.
Yeah.
That's reality, you know.
Yep. I've come to terms with that. But, I'm going to keep working harder and working harder. And hopefully one day I won't have to, like, suffer as much. I've put in the hard work now. And, I think, you just got to have a little more determination and just like keep it going. And one day, maybe I won't have to worry about things so much financially. And
Yeah.
who knows? Maybe, well, I don't know. I'm just gonna keep trying until I die. So that's it.
Yeah. What else can you do, right? That's pretty
Yeah.
much pretty much the game plan for everybody, I think. But yeah, real quick, you mentioned earlier about, people f- really expressing to the band how much they appreciate the band and Roger and Vinny. And I'll share a very quick story with you because it speaks to Roger and what you were saying earlier. First time I saw AF was right before they ended, after One Voice.
Yeah.
No, and they had come back, and it was at a I was 13 years old. I had hair down to here, Coke bottle glasses. I did not belong, but I was
Yeah.
curious. At least I felt I didn't belong at first, but I'm like, I like this band. I've heard them. I want to go see them. And Roger's by the merch booth. So I walk over and I start talking to Roger. Could not have been a nicer guy to some 13-year-old geek like me, you know. And I was asking him all kinds of fanboy questions. He very patiently answered them. And then he goes to play, and then he mentions halfway through, I think it was he had just gotten done with his hernia surgery. They talks about
Uh-huh.
the book. And I'm like, this guy's up here killing it, and he's got post hernia surgery issues. So Freddie came up and sang a few songs, and then we
Uh-huh.
finished the set. After the show, I'm kind of back in the club. Roger walks from across the club he has a t-shirt in his hand. He's like, "Hey man, it was really nice meeting you. Thank you so much for coming to see our band." And he handed me an AF shirt.
Oh wow.
I'm like, "I'm in. I'm in." You know, that's all it took. I'm like, this is if this is what hardcore is, I'm in.
That's great. Yeah.
So here we are, 30 plus years later, you know, obviously it paid off for me. I've seen thousands of bands, I've done hundreds of interviews with people, but a lot of it stems from that first meeting with Roger, because had Roger not been cool to me at 13, I may have fucked this whole thing off.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
The
So
line there's a line that Stigma likes to use a lot because it's easier to make a friend than to make an enemy.
yeah,
You know, he's right. You know what I mean? It's just like, is that because you never know if you're gonna meet that person again down the line.
right.
It's just like how you treat people is shows your true character. You
Yeah.
know, it really is.
Yeah. So I have a lot of fondness for the band. I have a lot of history with the band, very much my gateway into this whole thing. So not only has it just been a pleasure to chat with you, but it's been a pleasure to get inside your world with this art. And I appreciate you showed me around, and the viewer can
Yeah,
check
man.
workspace and what this whole thing is about. And again, I'll have the links up in the video description so people can go check out your art, make purchases, perhaps, get some custom work out of it for you. And, we'll, definitely take things from there, man. But I really appreciate you coming on, Mike. Thanks so much.
Absolutely, Joel. I'm sorry that it took a little time. You know, I know we canceled a few times, and but I promised to make it happen. So I'm glad we were able to finally do it. And the funny thing is, today I was like, "Oh my God, today's Friday already." I got the interview. I was like, "Oh God damn!" I was like, all right, okay, I'm ready. I'm good to go. I was like, because I knew, you know what? I actually planned on getting home yesterday, and then we wound up staying a day later, and then I got home today, and I was like, "Oh shit, I got that fucking." I was like, "I cannot fucking diss out on this guy again today." I was like, "Man, he's gonna think I'm a knucklehead," but glad we made it happen.
Yeah, man, definitely. And I'll get this up. I'll promote what you're doing, get the word out for folks who may not be familiar with it. And hopefully everything on your end keeps growing with the art and otherwise. All my best to Agnostic Front as always. And I'll definitely be catching you on the road some point soon, I'm sure.
I hope so, Joel. Thank you very much, buddy.
My pleasure, dude. Take care.
I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.